Okay, first episode we've done since Tobey Maguire was in the new Spider-Man movie.
That's right. It's a
Just
big
kidding.
episode.
Brunch. Hit it, boys.
Today's episode of Brunch is brought to you by Diet Smoke. If you're an edibles enjoyer, as I am, sometimes the issue with edibles is that you don't really know how high you're gonna get. That is, sometimes it's a roll of the dice. Sometimes you get too high, and whether you're in a social situation or just like trying to watch TV and you can't follow along with the plot of a movie or a TV show, it happens.
Or some rotten kids ring the doorbell.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good point.
You don't want to be too high when some rotten kids ring the doorbell.
You definitely don't. So if you're trying to find the perfect balance of feeling a little high, like a little buzz, a nice medium high, our friends at Diet Smoke have you covered with their delicious Delta 8 gummies. Delta 8 is simply a slightly less potent THC. The THC that you're probably familiar with is Delta 9, and while both are natural to the cannabis plant, Diet Smoke extracts their Delta 8 from hemp. Some may call this a loophole. I call it the secret recipe to getting a smooth, stable, and most importantly, legal high.
Famously, you do call it that.
That is very, very true. Diet Smoke is legal in most states, and it is non-prescription. Just check Diet Smoke's website to see if they ship their delicious gummies to your state. Now, you're probably asking yourself, does Diet Smoke really get you high? Yeah, they do. I've tried them. They
Haven't
do.
you been listening?
Yeah, that's right. I can personally attest to the fact that, hey, they work. They get the job done. They give you like the chillness of CBD with the quote unquote stoned feeling that you get from regular weed. It's wow, this line says Diet Smoke isn't light, it's just right. Now that's a
Whoa.
banger of a line.
Whoa.
Good for Diet Smoke. Diet Smoke comes in two delicious flavors. They sent us them both, blue raspberry and watermelon. I believe that I've tried the blue raspberry. Have you tried either of them?
Here's the thing about Diet Smoke. It's delicious.
There you go. Absolutely.
Do you get that reference?
Yes, it's a Wayne's World.
No.
Okay, then no, I don't get that reference.
The Gillian Jacobs Diet Coke commercials.
Oh yes.
Here's the thing
Here's
about
with
Diet Coke. It's delicious.
Who wrote that?
The most like defensive
Yeah.
Diet Coke ad in the world.
So when CBD isn't enough and traditional THC is too much, enjoy the smooth buzz of Diet Smoke. Go to dietsmoke.com and use I just got that you'd use Diet Coke in replacement for Diet Smoke.
Yeah.
I get it now. Okay, good job.
Sweet.
Way to go, Deej.
It's delicious.
Go to dietsmoke.com and use the promo code BRUNCH for 20% off your order. That's BRUNCH. I don't know why the call to action is telling us to spell our own podcast name, but go to dietsmoke.com and use the promo code BRUNCH, as I just spelled, for 20% off. Diet Smoke's Delta 8 THC gummies are not for use or sale to people under the age of 21. So children, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, and if you want to live in a yurt it up.
That's right. Yeah. Please use responsibly. Okay, let's now get to the episode in which we talk about my mom tying.
Brunch. Hit it, boys.
Okay, my initial first words were going to be that this has to be the longest we've gone without doing an episode, and it's also the most we've talked to each other.
Yeah. It's been like a week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe?
Last time we did an episode would have been either a Friday or something.
Oh yeah, because we banked the episodes before you went to California.
Because I had some biz to tend to in La La Land.
Yeah, so I assume that most people know at this point, but we missed some time last week because my mom died unexpectedly. DJ received that news in California. came back early. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a fucking hellish week and a half, 2 weeks. So, yeah, I mean, now this is not just a dog killing podcast. It is also a mother killing podcast.
I mean, they like California gets earthquakes all the time and everything, and
Yeah.
they say like, well, yeah, they get a lot of earthquakes, but where you really don't want to be is like one of those places that doesn't get earthquakes, because that means that they're due for like the craziest earthquake in the world. All of the tragedy hits you on this podcast.
Yeah,
and I
that's true.
hate that all of the tragedy hits you, and I hate that like to be a due person. But Jesus, yeah, like you said, unexpected.
It's extremely unexpected.
As unexpected as not like
Yeah, so she wasn't sick. She had gotten like a cold. Like after Thanksgiving, the entire family got a cold. We thought it was like COVID, and we all got tested. All were negative, and like we all had the same symptoms. And then just one day, I don't even know. It was Wednesday, so like last Wednesday, I guess. I don't even know. 2 weeks from this point. Yeah, so she was just found unresponsive in our house, and we got to the hospital, and the doctor just told us that believed that she went into cardiac arrest and just didn't make it. So
honestly,
it's fucking crazy.
The most shocking news ever. Like everyone said, like, oh, like you didn't see this coming. You're like, you called me. We had talked maybe like an hour and a half before or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, we had FaceTimed.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, I think back on like this phone call that we had often, obviously, because it's like been the only thing that's been on our minds for the last couple of weeks. But I was like, it's crazy that I don't know, like that I answered the phone, that like, because like we had just talked and
you were in the process of rollerblading.
I was rollerblading, and like that, not to make it at all about me, but it was just I had no idea why you would be calling. Right. But like we were talking on the phone quite a bit like recently, so who knows?
We don't call each other very often. There's usually like a FaceTime here and there mixed in.
Yeah.
This was not a FaceTime occasion. Just did a regular call. And I mean, like,
you could have given me 1,000 guesses.
Yeah.
And would not have been.
Yeah.
Would not have been that.
And, don't want to get like super, super into it, but you've known that like I've been dealing with some shit personally and been having a tough time over the past couple months. And like me and my mom were always close. Like I've always been a mama's boy, and like my mom raised me basically single-handedly. She's a single mother for like most of my life, and like just the best mom. But like over the past couple of months, she had really been like helping me kind of get through the stuff that I was going through. And, it's sort of like a double-edged sword, because on one hand, I'm really, really glad that like our last few months were like meaningful, and like we got like closer than ever, and just, she was like my rock. And then the timing of this, but like on the other edge of the sword, it's like the timing of it was like, it sucks that the last few months were kind of like, difficult, and like I'm glad that they were meaningful, but it sucks that they were difficult, and it sucks that like she left not knowing like if I was gonna be okay. Like that shit sucks.
That does, but she also saw you at your best before you went. And I know that like, when you're going through shit, you say like, I'm not at my best, but like this is the most like productive you've been. It was like, because like without getting into detail, like you've had a not great time for a little while now, but it's been you working on shit, and it's been you not like throwing in the towel when things aren't ideal or when you're not doing as well as you want to be doing. Like I've said to other people in like these past few months or whatever, just like, I mean, you've been going to therapy and stuff, and the shit that you've done and the work that you've taken on, I've been so fucking proud of you, and it sounds so condescending to say, so I try to not say it often, but like I've told that to
I don't
you
take it
and
as condescending. I like it's nice to hear, I guess.
But I guess what I'm saying is, like, if me, your friend, was seeing that,
Yeah.
then your mom was seeing that, and your mom was always crazy proud of you. But I'm heartbroken that you didn't technically get to say goodbye. But again, you two, who were like the ultimate tandem,
Yeah.
you were never working on a project as big as the one. And the project is like, and not to skip ahead to a new mood read or anything, but like the project was like you and
Yeah, I
you
like
feeling right.
Yeah, and like I had like a full on like breakdown, and so it was hard because like my family has always sort of like avoided or had aversions to difficult conversations and like tackling things head on.
That's why you're friends with me.
Yeah, right. And so it felt like a real big breakthrough to like be able to kind of like address a lot of that stuff with my mom and like have those difficult conversations. And we had a lot of fucking difficult conversations over the past couple of months. And so like, I'm glad that we had them instead of not having them. I wish that there was just like a little bit more space in between having those conversations and like feeling okay. And like it's never a good time to lose your mom, especially suddenly, but it just felt like a really really bad time to lose my mom.
That's why, dude. That's why, man, like fucking being in a different state, there was no predicting it. There was no, if there was
No,
any inkling,
no.
although like honestly, like I didn't feel amazing about being away anyway, just because like we've been talking a lot through this time and everything, and I've liked that like we've been getting together more and everything, and that's why like I was giving you like constant updates on just like anything, because like we do that anyway. But also, like, if you're going through a rough time, and obviously you have your people that you lean on, but I don't know, you don't want to feel like you can't be there for somebody. So when you called me and I was in a fucking on the other side of the country, the 405 was absolutely jammed. Like there was no way.
Yeah,
I could be 15 minutes away.
And I like didn't want to call you because I didn't want to ruin your vacation. But like it's obvious,
God ruined it. You didn't ruin it.
But it's also like a thing too, where like I was literally sitting in the hospital waiting room, the family waiting room. Which, by the way, I didn't realize that like being sent to the family waiting room is like hey, bad news is coming.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. But I was like sitting in the family waiting room, and you're like sending me videos of like you rollerblading on the beach, and I was like, don't want to tell him. Also don't want to keep getting like, hey, California fucking rocks kind of text. So I do really, really appreciate you coming back. And I do really, really appreciate you've been around and just even like coming over. And, there's been a lot of other people too. Like a lot of other people have really, really shown up. And, you've been here as much as anybody, who just like hanging around, playing Nintendo Switch, like, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. Fuck. And I mean, don't say like that it ruined any, like that ruined everybody's week, no matter where they were.
Yeah, but
and
you know what I mean.
Like, all right, time to go like live it up, and obviously that would have felt like shit, but also it would have been like the most dickish thing in the world. But honestly, dude, like it did, like driving over here and even flying back into Boston, it was like we talked about this. I was like, so there's like no, you can't like the suspension of disbelief is kind of gone. You know, like this fucking happened.
Yeah.
and this is here now.
Yeah, so like the big thing for me was over the past week I've just been like obviously like in shock and kind of numb, and it doesn't really feel like it's fully hit me yet, but especially over the past week I've kind of just been like killing time and existing until the services, which were late last week. So like, you know, it just felt like I was trying to get to the wake and the funeral, and then I don't know, but like it just was like gotta get there. So once that kind of passed and once that was over with, it was like a little bit of a relief, but I mean, it's still nothing's normal, and there is very much still a like waiting for it to hit me, and I'm assuming that it's going to come like when things get a little more normal and like slow down and shit like that. So as of right now, kind of just like hanging in there and trying to keep my head above water, I guess.
Yeah, and the timing. This happened to Tom Giles, I think. I have lost track of these years. It must have been last year, I think. He lost his mom right before Christmas, and like the holidays are a fucking brutal time for this to happen. Like,
yeah. Got the holidays, her birthday's like in a month, like. So yeah, it's a whole lot. I mean, again, there's no good time, but it seems like this is just like shit on top of shit on top of shit, and the timing is quite cruel. It seems like, but you know, it is what it is, and like you gotta keep going. So you know, I think that anybody who knew my mom, like the services were interesting because it didn't fully feel like it was a wake or a funeral or whatever. Like it did feel sort of like a celebration of life, and I know that that's kind of the what my mom wanted, and like she always made a big deal of like, hey, don't make a big deal over me, and so she was worth making a big deal over. But it did feel like you know, that over the past week or so there's been a like somewhat of an onus to honor that and not kind of like be down in the dumps and like crazy upset.
Yeah, and the minister, who is an
Dude,
absolutely not a minister.
What a wild person the minister was. The priest that did like the services.
Huge plot twist
was
during
like
this
an
service.
insane person.
Yeah.
Put on a fucking Broadway show.
Yeah.
It was wild,
We
but
canceled our podcast after. We were like, this is what entertainment is. We can't
That's
compete
right.
with this guy.
it did feel like somewhat fitting that my mom, who if anybody knew her, was fucking insane and just like a crazy person, would have like a batshit insane minister or priest or whatever it was doing the services.
But he said something, and he was insane, but I was like with him for 99.9% of what he was saying. And one of the things
My man was doing fucking like was working a crowd
Yeah.
at a funeral.
Yeah, and he was specifying people when he was like giving examples.
So
And he
that
was
made
going
me
up to, like,
uncomfortable.
certain people, and
It
I
was
was
like-
oh, they didn't know her that well.
Yeah,
Go to the
he was,
person,
like,
go to the
pointing
person
at
next to
people.
them. Go to the person next to them. That person knew her. That person knew her.
He was like pointing at people and like
That's a +1
he was like,
buddy.
"Hey, look me in the eyes."
Yeah. He gave. I was one of them. I forget what the example was, but he was like, so when you, and he was doing like a lot of I don't want to say callback humor, but it was humorous. He would do a lot of callback to like the eulogies. So he was like taking little pieces of what he heard. But one thing that he said that I was 1,000,000% on board with was that everybody is now kind of Donna. He was like,
Yeah.
he was like, so now, like,
He was like, you're in this room.
when I snap my fingers, like, it was like some hypnosis stuff. He was like, now everybody, you're Donna, goodbye. But I was like, absolutely. Like, I'm like stealing a lot of her shit. I'm stealing definitely the like parenting stuff.
Yeah.
1,000,000% stealing that. Just being, again, like, you and your mom are such a fucking tandem, and your sister and your mom were
The
such
same
a tandem.
person. I mean, my sister and my mom are the same person.
Which is, it's nuts that you can have that like much energy and that much love, but absolutely wasn't a problem for your mom. So maybe that's like aspiring to be like someone who's more talented than you, but still, I was like, yo, anyone who's gonna have kids in here, be Donna. Yeah, when the minister, so your aunt spoke, you spoke, and then the minister spoke, and he did my favorite funeral move, which is to start off by being like, all right, now, I'll say it, I don't really know this person.
Hilarious. He's like,
Funerals always start with like the person in charge being like,
just to clarify,
yeah, if she
I'm
comes
not here
back
for
to
fun.
life, she's probably going to be giving me some looks because she doesn't know me. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. And now, if you'll excuse me, I got some stuff I'd like to say about her. But he said beautiful things about your mom, and he was like, I did not know this woman well, but having heard the words from her cousin and from her son, I think that I can deduce that this woman was bat bleep crazy. And I didn't know yet what this minister was about, so I had like my fists clenched, be like,
but hope he gets this one
Pete's
right.
allowed to say it.
Yeah.
Pete's allowed to say it. You're not, buddy.
I didn't know. I
Like
felt
looking
like
around at certain people, I'm like, all right, we getting this guy or what?
no. I liked that. Like the
Laughs.
so I did my eulogy, and like the one thing that I wanted to. I knew the eulogy was going to be extremely hard, and it was. But like the one thing that I wanted to accomplish was like getting the vibe right, getting the vibe of my mom, and like, because you know, like when somebody talks about somebody posthumously, there's a tendency to like sugarcoat things and to paint this like perfect picture of like this perfect human being, and like my mom wasn't perfect. And like there were a lot of people that were probably like, yo, this lady is fucking nuts. And she was, but like, that's what made her, and it made her awesome. And like, I am glad that she gave me some of that craziness because it makes for an interesting person.
Oh my
and
God,
so
yeah.
like, I wanted to capture some of the things that made her and made her interesting. And like, so I'm glad that like somebody who came in with no idea of who this person was, heard the eulogies and was like,
Sounds weird.
sounds weird, I'm in. Yeah. So like it did give me like a nice little like affirmation that I got it right, I guess.
Yeah.
Or like me and my aunt got it right.
It was that they were awesome eulogies. Yours was awesome. Your aunt's was awesome. Nary a dry eye in the place, but I suppose that's how
That's how those things go. Yeah.
A wonderful touch at the end would have been. I know that we couldn't do this, but like we should have released at the end, been like, all right, this will conclude the services. We will now release the dogs, and just like open the door and like Summer and Duke come barging in and running around and like crashing into everybody.
It would not feel right not hearing my mom scream at them to shut the hell up.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
She
Calling either one of the dogs or you a little shit within 5
Yes.
minutes of me being there
Yeah.
is the
the staple.
yeah.
A little callback, dark callback. My mom was cremated with Nala, who we had
Oh.
not with Nala's body, with Nala's ashes. Nala was cremated years ago. I don't know if it's because we've been doing this podcast for so long, but it does feel like every year or two we're due for like a somber like therapy episode, and we've had a few.
Yeah.
And like the few that I remember are like the Bible episode, which is
Yeah.
that was after
It's one of
the
our
death of one of our favorite listeners.
Correct.
And then the one after Nala died suddenly. So I don't know. It's like a weird tie-in that now we have the Nala episode and my mom episode, and they were buried or cremated together, and will be buried together. So
Yeah, man, insane. I mean, has this felt long or slow to you? This
Both.
stretch,
Both,
yeah,
like,
I
extremely
think
both.
about it all the
Yeah.
time. Like there have been certain points where I'm like, if there's like a better day or there's like a worse, I don't know. I feel like I'm like appreciating everything in slow motion, and that makes me think, okay, I'm just like noticing things more, so that must mean that everything is slowed down a bit. But then I'm like, this happened 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. I feel like it was like yesterday when I was in the hospital room, and I mean, I feel like it's gonna feel like that's gonna be a vivid memory for like a long, long time.
Yeah.
And it's just like I do think that it's partially because I've essentially only been existing for like the past 2 weeks, so like time is completely blurred together. And it has both felt like it's been like almost no time has passed, but it's also crazy to think that it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Jesus.
It's weird. Yeah, it's grief is weird.
Yeah.
And there's been like a lot of like grieving and a lot of just like anybody who listens to the podcast knows the dynamic in which like you're the more open one about like your struggles and like the shit that you go through, but like the past few months have been like fucking just the ringer, and it's been like everything across the board. And I don't know, like in a way I feel like the months leading up to my mom's death like prepared me better to be able to handle it. Like I had infrastructure in place to like talk to people, and to like I'm getting help, still getting help, and like being able to talk to it about like my therapist has been helpful. And you know, it's gotten me to a place where I am more comfortable talking about, like, I don't think that I would have been able to do this podcast with like the previous aversions that I had to like just talking about myself and talking about
Right.
like difficult shit.
Yeah, and it's easier, at least for me. Like I can talk about it when I have like a little distance from it. Like I never really when I'm actually going through it. Like I don't think I've ever been able to be like I've never taken like a mental health day at work or whatever, which I should have a billion different times. And I don't think I've ever been like, yeah, I'm not doing so hot right now because I don't know why. But when I have a little distance from it, I can be like, yeah, sometimes shit isn't good. And like that's I think I'm getting better at being able to do more and kind of call stuff out in real time. But the few months you've had have just been, and that's why, again, there's not a good time. There's never a good time for this. But like it's like I just got like punched with like two emotions at the same time. Like one was like, what, how, why? That's fucking horrible. I love this woman. I never had this on my mind even for a second. And the other one is like, Jesus God, like if like you are kicking the shit out of this guy right now. So yeah, I hated that. I hated that I wasn't like there, but I also the timing was just horrible. But you are, unfortunately, I don't know if you'll agree with this, you are better suited to go through this than you would have been a few months ago.
Yeah,
which is
for
horrible,
sure.
But
Yeah,
it's just true.
It's true. And if I guess we don't have to be somber the entire episode, but like, you know, if there's anything that like I have to say to anybody after the past few months, it's like, number one, call your mom and tell them that you love them if they're still alive, or like call your parent, tell them that you love them, they're still alive. Either one. And number two is like, don't be. We've talked about it before, but like, and I've agreed that like, hey, therapy can be very, very helpful, and like I knew that was true. I didn't necessarily like think that I needed it, but if you're not opposed to it, I would say go. Like, talk, get a therapist. Like, it can't hurt.
Yeah.
And like, if anything, it's it'll help you talk out problems that you didn't know were there, and it's nice to just have the infrastructure if other things come up that like you do feel like you need to talk to somebody about. So like, I cannot recommend, like, I think that I'm going to be in therapy for like the rest of my life. Just cause like, I'm going to want to like continue like doing inventory of myself and like where I'm at. And I also just like want to have that security of like being able to go to somebody and talk things out and like have that outlet when shit goes sideways. And I hope that the shit doesn't go sideways the way that it's gone sideways for the past month or whatever. But like, yeah, it's like, that's the two things that I would kind of, my two big takeaways from the past couple of months.
Yeah. I've started going, when I started seeing my current therapist, it was like I need to go back to therapy kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I've told you a million times, like I've started going at points like years ago when I'd be like, damn, feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Like, better get a therapist. And even if you are feeling good, and like, I don't know, I say this a lot, like, depression and mental health stuff is like allergies, where I don't totally understand what it feels like for people who don't have it, and people who don't have it don't totally understand like what I'm talking about if I
Right.
bring it up or whatever. But if you
And
think you have any,
And there's no like all-encompassing definition or like
correct,
application that will apply to everybody. And that's something that I've like learned over the past few months, is that like, if you don't feel right, like, talk to somebody or like do research into like different things and find out, because there are a lot of like warning signs that you may not classify or identify as like a warning sign of a certain thing.
and that's why I'm just like not with a lot of the way that we treat people these days. Like, oh, this person did this or said this or whatever, or did like something embarrassing. Like, I always go back to that like super cringy Danny Amendola post like 3, 4, 5 years ago, and everyone was killing him, and it was like the most douchey, embarrassing thing in the world. And I was like, I'm just guessing, but I don't think this person's doing great.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So that's to say that,
And I mean, like,
there
the one
isn't-
that I always go back to too, and this is like a very, very obvious one, is the Craig Ferguson talking about the Britney Spears thing.
Right.
Where it's like, this is an easy target right now. And like, it's so easy to poke fun, get your jokes off, or like take a moral high ground or whatever. But like, that person is probably not proud of like where they are.
oh jeez,
And like, they need help.
yeah,
And like, your stuff is not helping them.
right. And so, if your stuff is good, bad, embarrassing, upsetting, whatever, if you can, there isn't a fucking take-home test, unfortunately.
You're right. Yeah.
So the take-home test is looking after yourself, and that's why, again, like, that's why I'm proud of you, because like, if you're not doing great, it's easy, or not easy, but I think it's common, unfortunately, to say, well, whatever, this doesn't feel good, or I don't want to think about this, or whatever it may be. So I'm just not going to think about it, and you'll probably rot in a lot of ways. So if you can take care of yourself, if you can see somebody, if you can talk to somebody, and it doesn't have to. I was talking to someone about this a few weeks ago. Like, it doesn't have to be a therapist. It can be just like,
True.
are you talking to your friends about it? Are you talking to like your mom, your dad, your whoever it may be, your significant other? So just look out for yourself if you can. Yeah, like if you have a therapist, you can go in there and brag or something. Like
Right,
if you
yeah.
are killing it, like go in there and be like, hey, this happened. This made me feel really good. I've done that with my therapist before. I've been like, yo,
I'm sure that's like enjoyable for therapists to like get a
Yes.
little break from
Oh, yeah.
everybody's shit, and like I know it's their job, but like I'm sure it's refreshing when somebody goes into the therapist's office and they're like, "Yo, I'm doing pretty good, and I'm feeling good about where I am."
yeah,
Like that's got to be a nice change of pace in a therapist day.
yeah. And I don't know why it is. The life being slow thing, like,
And like I think that there's value in examining why you feel like you're doing okay, just as much as there's value in examining why you don't feel like you're doing
totally,
okay.
totally. I've been wearing a lot of hats recently. I had a medical procedure go awry, and
I thought I knew about this medical procedure. I thought you were like you didn't literally mean I've been wearing a lot of hats lately. You thought you meant like I've been doing a lot of stuff at work, been being a great friend to
Yeah.
Pete. Like
nah, fuck that.
literally a lot of hats.
Yeah, I've been wearing a lot of hats recently. Shout out Vitamin C for this awesome
It's an
hat.
awesome
It's
hat.
a great lid. Check him out. But I had a medical procedure go awry. Everybody is okay, but the person prepping the area, which is an area that is often covered by hats, not accidentally,
No, it seemed like that
very
was
purposely, there was a knife and razor were used. Took off a lot of my hair, and by took off I mean snipped 6 times. And I thought, oh,
it's a lot of snips.
it's a lot of snips. Said I'll be right back. Left, came back, snipped 12 more times. Then shaved the area, and I couldn't see, and I was like, I might be bald now. I don't know. And the doctor came in and said, what happened to his hair? You need to that's not what the prep is like. You just need to like hit it with like a little rubbing alcohol or something. I'll be good. So for no reason, unfortunately, I have a pretty large patch on top of my head where there is now some hair because it's been a few weeks, I suppose. But that is happening right now, and I had an entire therapy session the next day on how bad I felt for this girl and why does like hair matter so much, but also
It does,
it
man.
fucking does. Like it
fucking
does
does.
to me for whatever reason. It doesn't to anybody else, but like if you have a weird fucking thing like that, you know what's great to have the next day? A fucking therapy appointment.
Yeah.
And you intentionally lead with how you feel bad for the. I'm such a fucking. My therapist has to know that like I'm kind of full of shit sometimes because I did intentionally open with this poor girl messed up. So she's like, you know, who's a compassionate dude? David. This guy.
It's
No,
true.
but seriously,
It's
like,
true, yeah.
if you have like a lot of fucking feelings like that where you're like, oh my God, like what do I do?
Like, yeah, and I'm assuming that's pretty confusing where it's like you feel like shit because of what she did, but you also understand that she probably also really feels like shit, especially when hearing it from like her boss that she fucked up.
She undoubtedly, I mean, if they're anything like you just put yourself in their shoes, would you feel like I felt confused, flummoxed? Oh no, am I going to shave my head? TBD. Still might at some point. We'll see.
Father John Misty, baby.
Right. So now Father John Misty shaved his head like 3 days after. So now I'm just going to look like I'm copying him, which there are worse people to copy.
Right.
But like it felt bad and confusing. But how would it feel to be the person that does that? I would guess 300 to 400 times worse.
Yeah, probably.
Hair, knock
especially
on
when their
wood,
job
grows
is
back.
on the line.
Yes. So that was the thing. Oh, I spent the rest of the time singing this person's praises to the doctor. Everything she was like, hey, now do you know how to take care of this going forward, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, she told me everything. She's the best.
Step by step. Yep.
She hadn't. I don't even think it was her job to do that. But I was like, I'll just Google it later.
It's a good thing that I don't care about my hair.
Right.
I also got a horrible haircut. Like
Oh, yeah,
one
that's
of
right. It's
one
going
of the
around.
one of the worst haircuts. It's not as bad as yours. I'll say that.
You hit me with the they massacred my look how they massacred my boy.
I was pretty proud of that one.
Yeah.
I got one of the worst haircuts that I've gotten in quite some time. It's since been fixed, I hope. But yeah, it's crazy how different you feel with like a good or bad haircut.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, patreon.com/listen to brunch DJ Bald Patch reveal at what?
315
315?
315 patrons.
315 patrons. DJ
Are you
Bald
gonna
Patch.
post the initial picture? Because there was a text
My penis
exchange.
was in it,
Jeez,
so.
fuck. There was an initial exchange where I was like, you were telling me what happened, and I was like, he's fucking being dramatic. Like it's
Yeah.
not that bad. It's 6 snips
Ellen,
or whatever.
I told Ellen about it. Ellen didn't bat an eye. I just like
yeah.
she just like continued with the conversation that we were having.
Yeah, I think that we
otherwise,
had
and I
the
was like,
same reaction.
What? I was like, wait, are you listening to what I'm telling you? And she was like, yeah, I just know that it's fine though.
Yeah,
And
you're
then I
just-
sent a picture. and
Yeah,
she was
we were
like,
both
oh my
like,
God.
oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, oh, okay, DJ, you're right.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Yeah, the first few days were. I've kind of figured it out. Kind of. I get.
Yeah, no. So like the initial picture is that's got to be the one. That's got to be the one that you share. But like,
Oh wow, yeah.
but it's like it is. You said appalling. It is shocking. It is shocking
Devastating.
how egregious it is.
You texted me back. This is the most shocking thing I'm going to see for the rest of the year. I'm sure of it. And then God was like, "Oh boy."
The God was just that meme of the guy
God's gotta
with
stop.
the solo cup.
Yeah, God's got to stop reading our text messages.
So yeah, it's bad.
It's-
But you have since figured it out, and you're masking it.
Yes, I'm masking it. It's not fixed.
No.
I discussing this with a friend a few weeks ago, was determined I can look like a guy with long hair. I just can't necessarily look like a guy with great hair.
Yes, correct.
And again, that was like that was a large portion of that therapy session of like, shit, what am I? If I shave my head with this nose, I'm excited. I am going to at some point cut my hair short. This nose is going to look so many people haven't seen me with a shorter haircut in a while. This thing is going to look like 10 times bigger.
Thing's gonna pop.
Yes, my nose is really going to.
That nose about to hit.
Should I get a nose ring when I cut my
Fuck
hair?
yeah.
Nose ring and nose tattoo to
No,
really accentuate it.
actually, you can't get a nose ring. I think that you'd look too much like Jack, formerly of Twitter.
Does he have a nose ring?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I don't know what Jack looks like.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what Jack looks like.
So it depends. He used to have like longish hair, but he followed the Father John Misty pattern a little bit. He used to have like
Ooh.
longish hair, with a beard, and then he shaved it. He went like wiffle cut, longer beard, and then nose ring.
Gotcha.
So he looked like this like artsy fartsy kind of guy. I just think that you would look too much like Jack if you kept a long beard and then got a nose ring and with like a wiffle.
Speaking of not knowing things, I learned this. I think I realized it today. First of all, hope everyone who has COVID right now is doing okay. A lot of people have COVID.
Big time comeback.
A lot of friends have COVID. COVID make it a killing. I realized I don't really know anything about COVID.
I
And
don't think any of us do.
nobody does. Feidelberg has COVID, unfortunately. And I was like, so sorry. And are you drinking fluids? Or do you do the fluids thing with this? For as much of a just listen to like I've been big on the listen to the scientists, listen to the doctors, and everything. I was like, I don't think maybe haven't been listening to them because I don't know what to do.
Again, it's another one of those situations where it's not one size fits all. Like everybody's COVID
Fair.
experience is different.
There is a take-home test, just
That
nobody
is
has
true.
them.
Yeah, I have them.
You have them?
Yes. Well,
Do you
funny
have an
enough,
extra? I'm
yes, I
kinda
do.
Albert Brooksing
I
right
do. I have, I think 4. So here's my mom's last great act. We all thought we had COVID. She fucking hoarded the at home.
Of course she did.
Yeah, hoarded the at home kits.
I believe every second of that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. My sister hooked me up. I drove around Massachusetts today trying to get take-home tests because I have a little business to tend to in the Big Apple this week, and
Can't wait to
I'm
hit that NHL store.
Waiting, yes, it's just the NHL store again. And I still don't. I might cancel last minute because COVID is doing pretty well there.
Yeah.
And I don't love the
That
idea
boy thriving.
of going into a COVID hotspot right before the holidays. Also, there maybe in like a year we'll do some California stories. But as soon as I landed in California, I spent $200 on a COVID test because I was just feeling like a little light postnasal drip on the plane. And what sucks with
You
having
spent $200, like one of
it was
the
$200,
like the over the counter ones.
no,
What?
you go into it was a urgent care thing. Did not know that take home tests existed.
Yeah. Some of them cost like $200. So like the ones that I have are like I think they're like $30. It's like the Binax ones.
Yeah, so my sister gave me a Binax one.
Yeah.
Shout out my sister. But yeah, the thing that sucks about having my stupid brain is I was like, this could very well be psychosomatic. It is possible right now that I have no symptoms and that I don't even have any postnasal drip right now.
And you're
but
just
it's
making it
in
up.
my head.
Yeah.
But I don't have COVID. But I've been sick for like 2 weeks. Not COVID, just like breathing trouble, was very congested, was on some antibiotics, but I don't know if
Well, that's like the super cold. That's what my entire family
the
had.
not
There's like
breathing well thing.
yeah, and then like just the very very congested, like
Yeah.
a lot of similarities to COVID symptoms, and it's just like apparently a super cold. And I don't know if that's because like our immune systems are so fucked for
be.
like just being inside for like the past couple of years, but I'll tell you, man, like for a guy who's teetering on the brink of like mental health, like another mental health breakdown, I don't know if I have the energy for COVID to make a big time comeback again in like a third separate year.
I know. I would. I'd bring you into the poker group for sure.
I'm like so fucking exhausted, man. Like,
Yeah, I can't decide with this like super cold or whatever. If you get COVID on top of that, that probably isn't great.
no.
I'm an asthmatic.
I mean, I wouldn't imagine getting COVID in any situation is great
Never,
or like a bonus.
quote unquote great.
Yeah.
Famously, COVID is frowned upon. But this episode comes out Wednesday, so who knows? We got to
Yeah.
make the decision by Monday morning. But yeah, good thing fucking COVID is making a comeback. A good thing is new mood. If you're thinking about helping your mentals along, think of how much mental health has become part of the global conversation. You heard us talking about it on this podcast. It's on the public stage. It's on a personal level. We all have daily stresses and reasons that we need to check on ourselves and take care of ourselves. New Mood is here to guide you to mental wellness and give you the tools you need to tackle stress so you'll feel empowered to take on whatever life throws at you. You'll be a big believer once you try New Mood. You'll take the journey to mental wellness one step at a time. Their guided approach teaches you the power of shifting your mindset in just a few minutes a day. This, I would not say, is a therapy replacement, but it is a good therapy supplement. And honestly, we all need all of the mental health supplements that we can get. And This ain't some medicine. This ain't some snake oil. Although if you need medicine for mental health, for sure, get on that. Don't do snake oil. If you need an app for mental health, I would say New Mood. You are stronger than your stress. It doesn't get to control you. Equip yourself with the knowledge and skills to steer yourself to happiness. As experts in behavior change, Noom has helped millions of people through their weight loss program. So now they can help you tackle stress too. With New Mood, taking care of your mental wellness is empowering. They'll help you better understand your personal relationship with stress and anxious thoughts so you can take control, build resistance, and develop coping mechanisms that actually work. All you need is 10 minutes a day, and it's an app, so it's there for you anytime, anywhere. Worry less and feel happier. Sign up for your trial at newmood.com/brunch. That's newmood.com/brunch. That's NOOM.com/brunch. Okay, well, I'm in the mood to discuss Spider-Man No Way Home, but this time with spoilers.
Yeah, this is absolutely going to
Supreme
be.
spoiler
Yeah, we're
warning.
going to heavy spoil. So if you have not seen the movie and you care about the spoilers,
Go to patreon.com/listen to brunch and
Yes.
sign up. See my head.
yeah, please go to the Patreon, get us to 315 so we can show DJ's just horrendous scalp.
Yeah.
If you don't want to have Spider-Man spoiled for you, either stop listening or stop being a big baby and realize that my mom is dead and that movies don't really matter.
Or listen, see if you can think of something else so strongly that even though you're hearing the words of us spoiling Spider-Man, you're not processing it. I do this a lot. I'll just listen to music in my head. Just put on a song. Someone's talking to me. Don't really care for whatever that
I feel like you do
conversation's
that
gonna be.
for half the time in the podcast.
It's awesome. How you don't get this wealth of musical knowledge without working
playing
overtime.
some tunes in your own head.
Yeah, you got to work overtime.
So yeah, Spider-Man spoilers. I'll just start right off the bat. Not a good movie, or not the perfect
Not
movie to
that-
see right after your mom dies.
Oh, right. Yeah, if you were gonna lose a loved one, maybe sit this movie out. But I don't know. I've realized since your mom died that everything is mom died.
Yeah,
related.
man.
I didn't.
Insecure.
Yeah, we watched Insecure the other day, and I was like, maybe let's do something else because everything's just about a mom dying. But
Yeah.
this is about Aunt May dying, and damn, sucks to lose that hottie.
Yeah, I was more upset that Marissa Tomei was seemingly exiting the franchise more than the fact that Aunt May had died. Because, I've seen enough Spider-Mans to know that, you're a legal guardian. We're going to see a legal guardian die at some point.
Yeah, but this one had the nice touch of the legal guardian having a puppy dog played by Jon Favreau following her around at all times. Yo, Happy. It wasn't happening. Just
Well, it was happening.
yeah, it was, but then once it's not happening, you gotta. He wasn't making matters better.
Yeah,
He
but
wasn't helping his case.
Yep, no, but he wanted it to work, man, and he loved Aunt May.
Yeah.
Happy wasn't chasing tail. Happy was chasing Aunt May, and for that I can appreciate and understand. Marissa Tomei
It truly
got it
bordered on,
going on.
Oh, of course. It truly bordered on chasing, though.
Yeah,
just chill
but
30% more.
True.
Pop a diet smoke, will you? Happy?
True, but I do feel like there was an element
It's
of her
delicious.
dragging a little cat toy behind her to keep Happy.
But he's a puppy. He's not interested in that cat toy. Unless he thinks, wait, is she dragging that because there's going to be a cat in another room? Because I'll fuck that cat up.
True.
Who knows?
Good point.
Jon Favreau joins us next. Yeah, everyone was. I saw so much stuff, but don't spoil this movie. Spoiler. I think on Twitter, its name is Spider-Man No Way Home. Do not spoil or something.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone's so obsessed with don't spoil.
I really I was worried about shit getting spoiled, but having seen the movie, I feel like there aren't that many big spoilers. The one that we just told you is the biggest one.
Not by a mile.
Not by a mile?
Not by a mile.
Well, maybe I say that because I knew of the other ones. Like,
Oh, you did?
they were very poorly kept secrets.
So I checked to see how well those secrets were kept. If you wanted to find them, you would find them very easily.
Yeah, and like they were like
on a website called imdb.com/Spider-Man No Way
well,
Home.
yeah, I mean, like, yeah, but also they were in headlines for a long time leading up to the premise being
What?
like, yeah, like there were negotiations about like what they like because they were fighting about what they wanted to put and not put in the trailer.
Oh.
So like there was headlines being like Sony fighting whatever Marvel to not include Andrew Garfield and Tobey
Yeah.
Maguire in the Spider-Man No Way Home trailers.
So I very much like that they didn't include
Same.
that. I liked. So you knew going in that
Yes.
they were in it. Okay,
Yeah.
I did
well,
not.
I knew that I knew that like that was the big buzz.
Yeah. So I didn't know that, and
You didn't know that at all? Like no inkling whatsoever?
Pete, I had stuff going on. Okay.
You're
I-
right. I'm sorry. I did not.
Please, right. Sorry, I wasn't thinking about. Wait, who exactly is the like? I tell you what, man. I rolled into and all kidding aside, as I know you did too. Like, I rolled into Spider-Man No Way Home like by the like just like living minute to minute.
Yeah.
Like was not thinking about Spider-Man No Way Home into like tomorrow. Spider-Man No Way Home in an
Yeah.
hour or whatever. It was just like. It was like
Well,
just
I
the
kind of
next
was
thing.
because I was like, yo, Spider-Man No Way Home is going to kill 2.5 hours
Right.
that I don't have to think about other things.
Right, like non-deaf
Yeah.
circled. You walk in, they're
Whoops.
like, "What up, Aunt May?"
No, but like, so I very much had an idea that was going to happen. Which, if you're still confused, what
Tobey
the hell are you
Maguire
listening
dies
for?
in the movie.
Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield return to reprise their roles as Peter Parker / Spider-Man, but like I had seen Alfred Molina, Willem Dafoe, Jamie Foxx doing the rounds as like old Spider-Man villains returning to this movie, and so like that was
2 and 2.
that was not kept a secret at all. And there were like these big rumors that Garfield and Tobey Maguire were going to return. So it's like, you know, if you're bringing back the old villains and there's rumors that the other guys are going to return, fucking duh. Like,
So I didn't know that those guys were in it, but let me tell you, as I was watching the movie, even my like tired and under the weather brain really solved everything quite quickly between like Doc Ock being there and is that Green Goblin? That's that other cutie. You're like, okay, well, if those guys are there, and then once it became about other dimensions, I've literally seen a Spider-Man movie within the past like 5 years that says what happens when
yeah.
you're doing the other dimension thing. You meet a bunch of other Spider-Mans.
Yep.
So I was like, ooh, this is going to be pretty cool. And let me tell you, I loved the experience of just being in the theater as all of those characters were revealed because they were seriously screaming. When Andrew Garfield came out, they screamed like the most. It was like the first "shut the fuck up" that gets like the like clap, and you're like, oh, it's a pretty nice response. But like that second "shut the fuck up" when they give the standing ovation,
Yeah.
it was like that where you think, okay, that's as big a ovation as I'll see. But man, when Tobey Maguire came out, they were going cuckoo, and I was just so happy for them. Like, I don't really give a shit. I was like, it's a Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man's there.
Yeah, it was a weird situation because I was surprised that they did Andrew Garfield first.
Oh no, that's the way to do it.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, it tells you what's gonna happen. It telegraphs it, but it saves the biggest for last.
So like I wonder if it would have been like more of like a holy shit had they gone Tobey Maguire first. But I kind of feel like it was a little tip of the cap to Andrew Garfield to like let him have that
Yeah,
because he for sure is like the least liked Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And
shout out to the movie for leaning into that.
yeah, and I really liked that.
He was great in it.
they-
I haven't seen an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man before.
Really?
But
Okay.
No, but that was
It was yeah, they did lean into it. There was like a very healthy and appreciated amount of self-awareness that was like there's like a monologue of Andrew Garfield being like, sometimes I just feel like a loser and like that nobody likes me, and I thought that was hilarious. And then they talk about like Jamie Foxx is like oh, I look so much better, like I'm not blue, like this is the new improved version of me. And then like they talk about how bad and how stupid what's his name, Paul Giamatti's Rhino was.
Oh yeah.
And so like they make a lot of like self-deprecating humor.
Oh yeah, I get that. Yeah. When they talk about the things that they've been through, like the 3 Spider-Mans are sitting around. Also, I was disappointed. I thought that we were gonna get a Spider-Man pointing. I was waiting for that.
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah, when they first
Damn.
came in, I was like, all right, Toby's clearly coming, so can you two do a little pointing before?
That would have been incredible because when they introduced Toby, he comes in as plain clothed Peter Parker.
Right. I wanted, it would.
It would have been way better had they both come in the suit and then been like, "What the hell?"
Because they do have a standoff of like,
Right.
what? Who are you, huh? And they're like standing across from each other. I'm like, put on the suits and point at each other.
There was
Everybody
also
else got to scream.
there was a wink to Jamie Foxx being like, "Yo, I'm real disappointed. I thought you were gonna be black." To Andrew Garfield, and then Andrew Garfield be like, yeah, I'm sorry. And Jamie Foxx like, don't worry about it. I'm sure that there's a universe out there in which there's a black Spider-Man. I
Yeah.
thought that was an incredible wink.
Got big laughs.
Yeah.
Got big claps. Got big laughs. My theater was just so happy. They were just eating it all up. And then when they realize that they all have the same name,
Yeah.
and they need to be able to differentiate, they say, okay, well then I'll be like
Peter
like
1.
Toby, like basically like, hey, you'll be Peter 1. I'll be Peter 2, and Andrew Garfield's like Peter 3, like,
Yeah.
and like
They like
of
ranked
course.
each other.
Yeah.
I thought it was
great.
yeah, I thought it was the movie really, really executed everything pretty well. Like I think that the plot itself pretty thin.
Yes, not the best movie, but a good time.
But like they came up with this idea, and it's a brilliant idea, and they executed it really well from start to finish. Like just bringing in the guys, bringing in the villains, making the villains share the screen in a appropriate and even-ish way. I would say like the Lizard got the shaft. Dr. Connors got like the short end of the stick there, but I think reasonably so. Like
that's the dude from Wings. Oh no, the dude from Wings is the. Is that the dude from Wings? Who's the sand guy?
No, that's the guy,
name
the
is-
deeper voice.
Yeah, what's his name?
I don't know.
Yes, Neil Patrick Harris.
No.
He's got 3 names. Anthony Michael Hall,
I forget. I don't know his name, but
John C. Riley.
yeah, that's it. But yeah, I thought that they executed it really well. They kept like a very steady flow, allowed everybody to share the screen. They kept the tone really, really solid. And I don't know, it was just like a really enjoyable experience.
Yeah. Again, not the best movie, but like I don't care.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, it was a party. Like,
yeah. And this is gonna be one. I think in a couple of years, we'll have to talk to Jay Baruchel about it, because this could be one that I see being like 100 on Rotten Tomatoes or something.
Last I checked, it was a 99.
It was?
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, so that's too high. I'd say it's like a 90 to like 93, 94 or something like that, just because it was a lot more razzle dazzle than
Definitely.
it was substance. But if
like,
I'm watching a superhero
right,
movie,
give me the razzle
I'm going
dazzle.
for razzle dazzle.
Like I think that
Not everything should be graded on the same curve.
I agree, and I think that I think that they did it so well that the razzle dazzle isn't like a one-shot thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously you're gonna know what happens, but this movie has rewatchability. Like I can rewatch it and still enjoy the fact that they brought all of these things together and made a very good and complete product from it. Like it would have been extremely disappointing or extremely easy to miss the mark in doing this. Like had they done this and like pulled this stunt, quote unquote, and then like the rest of the movie fell flat, it would have felt so disappointing and so crushing that they didn't deliver on that. But I'm just like really, really grateful that they did it in a way that was exciting and in a way that was a good movie.
Yeah, Cumberbatch was good.
Yeah.
If it comes, I wish it were streaming because I would want to watch it again. I don't want to watch that. There's a lot of movies coming out though. Sing 2, I am pumped for. That comes out this week at some point. We haven't talked Don't Look Up at all, huh?
No.
Yeah, I haven't
not
done
at
a
all.
podcast.
Well, I
since
haven't
then.
seen it, so
Yeah. Don't Look Up, folks. See it. It's not unbelievable, but see it. I recommend it.
I will be watching that one on Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
That's like my Christmas Eve plan.
oh, because it'll be streaming.
Netflix, yeah.
Yep. This is a huge week for movies. Licorice Pizza nationally finally comes out on Friday, Saturday, Christmas,
Friday,
whatever. Yeah. That's one that I did see it again, but that's one that, like, I'm not even gonna have time to see another time, even though it could be like Mamma Mia 2-ish, where like every few days when there's a few spare minutes, might be like, go check out Licorice Pizza. But I want to rewatch this again, but I don't think I'm gonna go see it in theaters. Spider-Man, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, like, I honestly might try to see it in theaters again soon, because I kind of want to get multiple experiences of the theater reacting.
Yeah.
And, like, you got to go sooner rather than later because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of repeat viewers.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I don't know, it gave me a lot of joy to see how excited people were over, like, the stuff that happened in that movie.
Yeah. I still got to see. I haven't seen West Side Story.
Is that out? Yeah, it is out. Yeah.
And I want to.
I've heard great things.
Everybody says that it's good. So, yeah, a lot of movies like coming up, which is weird. I had been in such a movie timeout, hadn't gone to the theater and done much.
Yeah, now I'm a little nervous too because like they have like all these big releases and now COVID is spiking again and it's like,
On
well,
the streets,
what's
yeah.
gonna happen with the movie theaters and shit like that? And so I don't know. I'm excited that there is a lot of stuff to catch up on. I still feel like I'm quite behind,
Mhm.
but something tells me that I am going to be trying to fill my time quite a bit in the coming weeks ahead. So I will definitely be binging some movies. I did watch. I rewatched The Matrix.
Oh,
I watched The Matrix the other night.
the original one or the
The
new
original one. The original one because I want to see the new one coming up too.
Same.
And I realized when I was like thinking about the new one that I just don't know anything about The Matrix. Like
No.
I saw it as a young kid and I was just like mindlessly watching for the action, and I remember it being an awesome action movie, but I don't really remember like the plot and stuff. And I'll tell you, I watched it as an adult, still really no clue about the plot. It is so fucking confusing.
So I think it came out when I was in 8th grade, and just like pretend that you liked it because
Just pretend
yeah.
like you understand what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if I saw any of the other 2 ones, but
I did see all 3 of them.
I don't know. Like I feel like they deserve for this 4th one to be seen because they haven't made a million of these, and it would have
Right.
been easy to make a million of them, and they haven't. So when they go 13, 14 years, is that what it was? Was it 2003 the last one?
Something like that.
So that would be like 17, 18 years. Jesus. So they deserve to get this viewing. This ain't a Fast and the Furious 35th installment type of thing. So I'll check it out. Again, I just don't know if I've seen the other ones, but definitely seen the first one.
I'm glad that they didn't make Keanu Reeves change his look. Because he did not look like that in the original Matrix.
Right.
Matrixes.
But like time changes.
Right. Yeah. But like it would have been the easy move to be like, please shave your beard, please cut your hair. This is not John Wick. You are Neo.
Yeah. Jesse Plemons looks different in this one, they say.